welcome to the Green Deal session of this German Chamber of Commerce conference today. Thank you everybody to be here today with us here. First of all, I would like to start that our panel will be in English language, and we have a translation into German language. So please you can adapt your equipment to receive the English transmission or the German transmission. And my name is Ionuț Georgescu. I'm the CEO of FEBRA. We are a company dedicated to the sustainability of packaging, and we can manage your responsibility regarding your packaging. First of all, I would like to thank again to the German Chamber of Commerce for inviting us here, for inviting me to be the moderator. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today with you. And I will start by thanking the two ministers which joined us today. First of all, it's the Minister of Environment, Mr. Tamcos Barno, and the Minister of Energy, Mr. Virgil Popescu. Hello to the two ministers, and if you have a welcome, few words to welcome our guests, please, you can do it now. Until maybe our colleagues will figure it out about the technology issues here, let's go a little bit further to Minister Virgil Popescu. Let's see if we can hear the Minister, please. Hello. Now we are using a device here to hear you, so please go further.
German Chamber of Commerce. So we talk about Green Deal, and from the point of view of our ministry, from the Energy Ministry, we are very committed to access and to have this objective of reducing to 55% the emission of CO2 till 2030 and to achieve neutrality at 2050. And we start from our energetic mix, because this is the original where we are. 20% is coal. We have 24% renewables. We achieved our target, our last target, 24%. They are renewables, and when you talk about renewables, we talk about solar and wind. We have also renewables on hydro. We have a lot of hydro here in Romania. We have also hydrocarbon gas, natural gas. So first of all, we have to have a transition from coal to green energies, to gas, natural gas. And Romania is one of between like-minded states that support gas as a transition fuel.
Thank you.
So we have.
Yes, please.
We have two major problems, let's say problems, the hard coal at Hunedoara Energetic and the lignite to Oltenia Energetic Complex. Sorry, you want to say something?
We are sure that we can go to present you also the other speakers, and of course you will have the opportunity to discuss together with us here some details about the energetic plans of your minister and on behalf of the government. But I propose you to present also the other speakers with me here on the panel, and then to move forward on with this time schedule. So we have with us here Mr. Andreas Lier, which is the CEO of BASF Romania, one of the largest chemical company in the world, which is also the president of AHK Romania. Thank you for being here with us. He has a huge history with BASF since 1992, and you have a huge experience, and we welcome you today here with us. Also, we have the new CEO of IN Romania, Mr. Volker Raffel. Thank you for being here. You have also good experience also with E.ON and also with Romania, being here present in Romania from the beginning of E.ON Romania. So you have a lot of knowledge about the market, and I hope that you can give us some hints about the future of this market in the next years. We have also with us here Mr. Radu Merica. He is the ex-president of AHK Romania and the CEO of Red Ecology Group. We know each other and we discuss about waste management and circular economy for many, many years already. Thank you for being here with us today, and we will tackle not only energy but also about circular economy, the Green Deal opportunities. We'll discuss today. And also, least but not last, Mr. Petru Rușeț, the Managing Director of Siemens Energy Romania, with a huge experience also in Romanian market, 30 years in energetic sectors from Transelectrica, and now since 2007 on Siemens. Thank you all to be here. Before starting the panel and the discussions, I would like to say a few words about the time management. I would like to have a panel with positive language, with positive feedbacks. We have to learn from our mistakes, and we have to think that our performance can be created only if we communicate together. So let's be positive today on this panel and to see the opportunities of the future. Because as we see in this moment, if we look at the economic history of Romania since 200 years ago, now with the Green Deal, I can see that Romania has a huge opportunity. If we take this train of Green Deal and if we make these investments into Romania, we can become as a market leader for a lot of sectors when we speak about energy, when we speak about circular economy and others. So we have to be positive and we have to work together towards to achieve these goals. And I remember the fact that in 1990, we didn't have internet. In 2018, Romania is still in the first 5 countries in the world regarding internet. Let's do this and let's put Romania again on a great position with the support of this Green Deal. And of course, for the respect of your time, for the respect of everybody, I will try to keep the time management as strict as we can. So we will have 10 minutes for each ministers, and then we'll go to the companies, because we would like to have also a communication between us and the participants on the panel. So each participant is invited to put any questions. We will receive the questions live here and we'll try to answer as many as we can in this moment. And let's move forward. Let's start this panel. And Mr. Minister of Environment, Mr. Barna, I will start with you. When we speak about Green Deal, we speak about environment. How does the Minister of Environment see this opportunity to push the boundaries, to push the limits of the environment protection in respect of our targets, of the EU targets, and how can we create a real strategy from the point of view of the Ministry of Environment? Please, Mr. Minister, let's discuss about this.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation. Sorry for the technical problems. It was my fault. I didn't push the micro, didn't start it. So, the Green Deal, it's a huge challenge, not only for Romania, but for whole Europe. And this challenge is not mainly for the Ministry of Environment. It's a challenge for every citizen. It's a challenge for each industry. It's a challenge for the whole country. And we have to manage it and to create the opportunities for the companies to use this opportunity to develop a green production sector, green production sectors and areas, and to have the capacity to use the tools, to use the funds, the European funds, the national funds, to make this transformation, this change in each sector, in each domain, in each industry. As the Minister of Environment, actually you have to supervise all this transformation process and to report not daily but monthly, yearly to the European Union where we are and what we can do to reach these targets. The most important thing is to analyze all these challenges and all these targets and take in consideration the starting point for each member state. Because in comparison with Germany or other developed, economically developed countries in the European Union, Romania has some opportunities, but at the same time we have big challenges. And all these elements must be on the table when we decide how we transform the energy sector, for example, how we transform the production sectors and industries, and how we can change the mentality of the citizens. Not only because of the Green Deal, but because of some traditional activities in the field of environment protection. We are behind of the other countries from western part of the European Union. When we discussed about the waste management, the circular economy, the capacities, the technologies, all these elements are different if we compare member states between them. We need the support of the ministries for the industry, for economic players, let's say, in the market, and we have to have this support financially to help them to transform their activity, their production process. In this field, we have some state aid measurements approved already by the Romanian authorities, and they are under elaboration in Environment Fund administration, where we can launch some state aid programs where we can help the economy, we can help the companies to make these transformations. It's very important for Romania to use even the resilience funds to transform some activities and to make them more green and more protective in the field of environment and protection. The communication is a very important tool between the ministries to see how we can help each other, how we can support the common programs, and how we can transform into successful investments all these funds, and how we can help the Romanian companies to reach the targets and to help the whole Europe to reach 2050 target, and we have to be a completely different economy, completely different country, because everything is it's obligatory for even for Romania.
Many times, or sometimes, we have companies or people saying that the Ministry of Environment is only trying to push the targets as much as you can, to establish maybe sometimes non-realistic targets to achieve some regarding air pollution or waste, recycling, water quality, soil. But how can we see, instead of seeing this as a threat, how can we see all these targets as opportunities? Opportunities of starting new businesses, opportunities to develop new projects, and to implement a better circular economy, not only regarding waste, but also regarding maybe energy or some other sectors of the Romanian industry. How can we provide a positive approach on these targets?
If we are a team, actually we have this role. This is very clear. The role of ministries of the environment is to have higher and higher and higher objectives. This is just true. If we are discussing about Romania, we can see that our targets are below in comparison with the reached targets in other countries. So we cannot say that these targets are was pushed too high. Of course, we can use this opportunity to launch new projects, to finance new projects, to help new companies, to implement new technologies. to implement the results of innovation, of research, and all these projects must be linked between them, and this is why the communication is very important, because we have the Ministry of Economy, of Industry, we have the Ministry of Agriculture, and between these ministries there is a ministry which the watching dog, which is linked to each sector, which is trying to push each sector to reach higher and higher goals. But at the same time, we have to have the institutional support to help them to be authorized and to have all the permits to develop the new activities, to start the new projects. It's a huge challenge for our ministry to simplify our procedures and to help the companies to reach, to have these permits in a shorter time, and to use the funds, the GES funds, for example, to help the specific investment projects. If you discussed about the electric cars, it's very important to see how the national program helping the companies and the citizens to buy more and more electric cars in Romania. The increasing number of these cars is huge, and it has a very important impact on Green Deal target reaching process. At the same time, as I told you, this is our role. We have to reach up and up, higher and higher the targets. This is one of our business, let's say. But at the same time, we have to support the ministries, the economy, and we have to support the companies to be able to reach these targets.
You mentioned very well a little bit earlier about the permits, and of course, even today we'll hear about a few projects on energy, on circular economy projects that are of a large size. And one of the tasks for a project to be implemented, correlated to the timeline and correlated with our goals of spending not only the EU funds, the GES funds, but also the resilience plan, which is limited to 2026. One issue will be the permit. Do you see a different approach maybe in the close future regarding the permit activity of the Ministry of Environment to discover how we can support a better process, to implement a more easier process for the companies to support them to implement quicker the project? How do you see this?
Honestly, after 4 months of negotiation and dialogue with the European Commission experts, I see the new philosophy, which is more than challenging, let's say, in the EU level, and it will be transferred somehow in each member state. We had some very interesting discussion about which is green, what means to be green. And I found out that some technological investments in non-invasive technologies in forest exploitation is not green. It is not good to cut the trees without entering the whole machines and whole touching in the forest. It's better to not enter in the forest and keep the forest untouched. If all these philosophies will be transferred in the new permit approval processes, it will be tough for the companies to start new activities or to authorize to continue their activities. My goal is to help the companies, to push my colleagues from the authorities to change the mentality, to be more proactive, and to help all these experts and companies to prepare the documentations and to have the permit as soon as possible. But as I told you, on the European level, to be more greener, day by day will push probably the companies to have more, and will result a more difficult process and permit elaboration and approval process, not only in Romania, in other member states too.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we heard about the opportunities and also about the ambitions of the Ministry of Environment to push the boundaries and to push the targets. Of course, now the companies, the industry, and the energetic sectors will have to give a feedback to the Ministry of Environment. Okay, we can do like this. We can make this kind of steps. We can take the responsibility to achieve these targets in this time frame. Which is your position, Minister Popescu, regarding achieving the targets of the Ministry of Environment, regarding implementing a real Green Deal in Romania into energetic sectors? Because we speak a lot about huge opportunities in these sectors, and as you can see, mostly of our speakers today here are from energetic sectors or has an indirect impact into this. So, Mr. Minister, how can we move towards very quickly to become a green Romania?
First of all, in the energetic field, there are no targets imposed by any minister. We work together with the Ministry of Environment and we finalized the Integration National Plan of Energy and Climate and Changing Climate, and now we have to approve it in the government. And there we have some target. We have, for example, a target of 30.7% of renewables until 2025, and we want to increase it at 34% next year when we change the plan, we revisit the plan. So we work together to the plan. Together we put targets in the plan, and together we will look and we survey that Romania will reach those targets. If we look back in the past, Romania achieved 24% of renewables in total energy producing electricity, and we look in the European Union and we saw some countries that didn't reach their targets. So we ask now, and I already spoke this at the Energy Council in Luxembourg and said, look, Romania took their targets, Romania will achieve their new targets, but we did our targets when a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, when the technology wasn't so developed and the technology wasn't so cheap like today. And the result was that we achieved the target, and also the population, our Romanian population, the Romanian consumer, pay a little bit more to this green energy because it was a scheme aid supported and approved by the European Commission. So we don't want to repeat our mistakes from the past, and we want to have now, when we said we reach a target, we reach a target, and we want all countries to reach their targets, and not only one, because even it's a medium target on European level, everybody has to achieve their targets. So, coming back to your question, yes, we work together with the Ministry of Environment and we survey the energy market, and we see this as like an opportunity, that the transformation of the energy sector to the more and more green energy sector will be an opportunity for investment in Romania, and we want to support it. We have the resilience plan, where we have 1.6 billion euro on this, but we have also the Modernization Fund. Romania is one between the 11 countries that have access to Modernization Fund, and there we have an allocated quota of 200 million CO2 certificates. At the level of CO2 certificates now, we talk about almost 10 million euro on Modernization Fund, and we work now with EBRD and to finalize all the necessaries in order to open a call for Modernization Fund in the end of this year, to have our first call. So we have funds, we have financing, we have a resilience plan, we have Modernization Fund. I'm sure that will be also in MFF in the end. Energy and climate and medium will be also funds for the energy sector, and we want all companies to benefit from these opportunities and to make a lot of investment in the energy sector. We know that we have our objective to move from coal to renewables. We are between, as I said, between the 10 like-minded states, and we want to use gas as a transition fuel. So we will need this. We also want to decarbonize the gas, and we want to, and we approve, and we want between the countries at Luxembourg, the Energy Council that sustains the blending between hydrogen and natural gas. So we want to have technology that will use blending natural gas with green hydrogen. We have a pilot program in the National Resilience Plan that produce green hydrogen, blending with natural gas, producing electricity, capture CO2 and injecting CO2 in greenhouses in order to have a minimum emission of CO2. So we want to explore any kind of technologies that can help us in order to achieve our targets, our 34% of renewables that we will have it next year. And the European targets will have a reduction of 55% in 2030 and neutrality in 2050. Also, Romania is a pro-nuclear state. We have 2 reactors, and we want to build 2 more. 3 and 4 at Cernavodă. So we also sustain in Europe that hydrogen can be made also from low carbon energy sources. So we sustain the hydrogen, we also sustain the decarbonization of the natural gas, and also sustain the nuclear energy. These are some targets, some line of our energy sector, and together with the Ministry of Environment in the National Integrated Plan of Energy and Climate Changes, we will survey in order to put it in practice and to have an opportunity for all of us to have to have a faster transition to green energy.
Thank you. We have a lot of projects. The list is huge for all the projects on energetic system. I'm sure that we have a lot, and I would like to thank you to discuss about, if you already discussed about the mistakes of the past. You discuss about the project, you talk a little bit about the sources of the money, the financing schemes that we can have in this moment. What can we learn from our previous mistakes on absorbing this kind of funds? Because until now, we never achieved 100% absorption. Of course, maybe 100% is impossible, but which can be the absorption level that you feel that is real for Romania in this moment, and which can be the solutions and the partnership between the public authorities and the private companies in improving this absorption rate? Because we need to spend this money, especially when we speak about the resilience plan. The resilience plan will have an end in 2026 for an energetic project. It's a very short time. How can we move forward? what kind of support you need from the private companies, from the investors to achieve the best absorption rate that we have had until now?
What I saw from the past, I saw that the private companies are doing well. They know how to do investment and they know how to implement it. Where I saw problems in the public companies. And we have just last week an example from ROMGAZ with the power plant, where it started in 2016 and didn't finish till now. So we have to finish, but isn't so easy. So I encourage the public company to make partnership with private companies and to work together to develop common project. I think the best way for public companies is to learn from the private know-how, how to develop and how to implement huge investment, because there are we talk about huge money that we can invest in the energy sector, and so there are huge investments, and I think here that the public companies are not yet prepared. So my opinion is that this partnership, joint ventures with the private company will help us all and will increase our spending money, amount of spending money in absorption of European funds, if we talk about resilience plan or we talk about modernization fund or other European funds. And yes, you're right, 2026 is very close. 2021 is almost finished. We are in the middle of the year, so we have to start. We have to start to have mature projects. So in order to finish in 2026, and what we want to move from coal to green through gas. We have gas in the Black Sea, and we want to have the first gas from Neptune Deep offshore field in the end of 2025, 2026, in order to have this, to finish all the investments through resilience plan, to finish the investment through modernization fund, and there are the investments that depend on gas, in order to consume the gas that we will extract more and more in Romania than we export it. So we have a line, we have a strategy, we want to, it's very tight, yes, it's very tight. We have gas on the Black Sea, we want to extract it, we want to, at the same time, to have this investment ready till the end of the resilience plans, and we are very committed to this. So partnership between public companies and private companies, I think they are welcome from my point of view.
So first of all, thank you for this message, and I hope that the public companies can hear your message to do more joint ventures and more partnership with the private companies, because this is the key of success, to absorb a lot of money in a short period of time. And but at the end of your intervention, I would like to refer also to something that it is important for all the investors. It's regarding the trust. And when we speak about the energetic sectors, we have to learn also from our mistakes. And between the relation of the Ministry of, between the government, let's say, and the private sector, we have the past experience regarding some promises, for example, for renewable energies, green certificate level, which have been changed very quickly. How can we make some promises to the foreign investors, to the Romanian investors, maybe not huge promises, but to have a promise for a specific time? Look, guys, for the next, I don't know, 5 years, a number of years, you will have this benefit, and we will keep this promise. How can we move towards to have more trust between the Romanian government and the private entities?
I have two key words to say: predictability and stability. These are words that last government, last liberal government and this new coalition government is doing. We won't change the law. Regarding the energy and, as you say, the old green certificate and the new scheme 8, we will have next year the contract for difference, and this contract for difference will be approved when we will have it finished. It will be approved, and it will be a predictable and stability way to finance this green sector in the energy field. So my message to all the private companies, to all the investors, to all the public companies, that the government will keep its words. They will keep predictability and stability. We will have a scheme 8. We will put it on the table. We will say this will be for the next 5-6 years the scheme 8, and we will keep our promise.
Thank you very much. We hear an increase of trust and to put some realistic targets into this. Let's move a little bit forward to private companies, and we have, as I told you in the beginning, we have here with us BASF, the largest chemical company in the world. Mr. Lear, how do you see the Green Deal? A challenge, an opportunity, or a little bit of both of them?
Yeah, so many thanks for this question. The Green Deal is certainly a challenge and an opportunity for countries and for companies. And we see currently a paradigm shift from a linear economy towards a circular economy, towards new forms of energy. The Green Deal will change our life significantly, fundamentally. It is about what we eat, how we travel, how we produce, how we build, and how we power our plants and cars and homes. And all this will have significant impact on us and of course on companies. And BASF is fully committed to the Green Deal, to sustainability, to circular economy and new forms of reliable energy. Let me bring here also the one or other example. We are looking, of course, into our portfolios. We have more and more sustainable products in our portfolios. We are announcing new projects. For example, ChemCycling is one of the projects. That means turning plastic waste into fossils again, into pyrolysis oil, which can be used then again in the production. So there's circular economy. We are going, so energy is playing a significant role for chemical companies. Imagine BASF has 300 production sites worldwide. In Germany only, our big Verbund site is approximately consuming 1% of German energy, and of course it plays a fundamental role. So keeping this in mind and having this on the screen, we decided, and it was announced a couple of days ago, yesterday, a new project. So we decided basically to go into green energies. So we announced an investment project together with RWE, BASF in the North Sea. So we are building currently one of the largest, or we have the plan to build one of the largest wind farms in the world. And with this then basically, let it make a bit the picture, power a chemical factory with windmills, to make it a bit placative. And I mean, this is something significant what is happening. Talking about a bit the industry and specifically about the chemical industry, I mean, this industry has to become greenhouse neutral, digital, circular, and free of harmful substances. And please do not forget, at the same time where this is happening, companies in other parts of the world continue to produce. So therefore, it becomes more and more important during this transition time and accompany the transition. It becomes more and more important to have an industrial policy which ensures competitiveness. That is quite important, that this transformation will be made happen for the industry and for all partners which are here in Romania and in Europe working for all companies. So, and of course, all companies also need now more and more move in this direction into taking the sustainability and Green Deal into their strategies. We had last week, 2 weeks ago, we had a workshop. There were many mid-sized companies, so they understand now also more and more what does this mean, bring sustainability into their portfolios. So, what is important? We need a new way of working, and that's a new way of working between politics, industry, society, and an industrial policy, which is exactly this supporting to ensure competitiveness of the industry, of the transition, and here in future, in Romania, the possibilities are excellent, to say so. We have here the wind farm possibilities, we have the solar energy, but of course all this need to accompany it, and there might be in future the possibility to gain even a competitive advantage if this is done right here in Romania, and of course for Europe as a whole, if all politicians, industry and society is here moving in the right direction and pulling in one direction, to say so.
How do you see specifically for Romania BASF involvement? How do you see the opportunities here in this region?
I mean, as said, we have here a broad scope, so we are feeling daily the pulse of the industry, and I said it today morning in the panel, the economy is developing, the economy is recovering again. Specifically, of course, we are also analyzing opportunities in this regard. Sustainability is on the highest agenda for us, for all our divisions, and we are doing this together with our partners, with our customers.
Thank you. If we speak about, we spoke a lot about energy, and we can see that energetic sector is very dynamic, and it will be very dynamic also in the future. How is E.ON seeing the Green Deal specifically for Romania, challenge, opportunities, or which would be the involvement of the company in the next project?
Thank you very much for this question, and so I rather prefer to see the opportunity side, even though there are challenges too, so that's clear. And please allow me a personal note in the beginning, because I've been working in Romania from 2004 to 2008, and just now we arrived after 30 years in Romania, and if you're living here day by day, maybe you see the progress only a few steps and so on, but I can tell you, if you see it now after 13 years, you see that Romania has done an excellent development. It's really impressive. I've seen the development not only in the cities, I have only seen, also seen the new pieces of highway constructed between Cluj and Târgu, where our company is located. So I'm very much impressed. I'm deeply impressed, so that's very positive. And I also can more specifically judge the development in our grids, because I've been living at the time in Iași, in the Moldova area, and I returned there now, and I've seen the electricity grid. It's not the same anymore, and it's, I can tell you that the progresses are quite impressive too. So for instance, we have the outages are 6 times less frequent than they have been roughly 15 years ago. And if an outage occurs, it's almost just a tenth of the time that it used to be. So we see the improvement, and I also see still further room for improvement for sure. And if there are still some outages, mainly it's either to weather conditions or because we still try to work on the grid. So, and in gas it's similar. I've seen that just in the last 3 years we have reduced the gas leakages by almost 30% within 3 years, and the gas leakages represent a big part of the Romanian footprint, carbon footprint. And so we try to continue on this path, of course, and that was just my personal observation that already big successes have been done. And so when it comes now to the future, and you asked me what E.ON's role could be in it. As you may know, we are very much focusing on as a company, on one part of the whole picture. And when Green Deal needs to become a success, as I think we all agree, it should be a success. And Romania should be able to absorb as much as possible of this huge opportunity. It's like a Marshall Plan, it's like plenty of money just arriving, and let's together use it as much as we can. And I think for this we have really to cooperate all together. It's about chemistry, it's about different parts of the energy chain. It's about generation of electricity, for instance, which I think currently is, I see that there on the energy market there's an explosion of prices, because in whole Europe there was not really invested enough in power production, and I think that's the next step to do too. So all companies need to do a share, and our share will be that we are modernizing the distribution grids. And not only, as I said, improving on electricity and gas, but also making a backbone for further developments, like you mentioned, electromobility. So if...
I wanted to ask you to touch this subject about the mobility. We heard a little bit earlier Minister of the Environment speaking about the project of supporting electric transportation, electric cars, electric buses, which is huge. We can see already a lot of cars on our roads which are electric, which is, how do you see this in the future? How we can speed up the involvement of the energy sector and mobility sector into Romania?
Yeah, this is an element or an example where you see that plenty of things need to come together that it works. It's from law, it's from public support, it's from infrastructure, and here it will be our role. We have to build more charging stations, and we will do so. And it's not only the charging station, but also the grid behind. And this means a lot of also smart solutions, a new distribution of where the energy is flowing. So it's you don't see it, but there's a lot of work behind, and we will do our share in this. And but it's not only this one. It's electricity is going to be the energy of the future, and therefore I think our grids can really play a role in this energy transition. But also the gas grid can do so, because it is, as both ministers were mentioning, the hydrogen, and our grid can take intake hydrogen, so we can even allow that this new energy is flowing to the households and coming there, and that is what I meant with sector coupling. All the green new energy needs to be stored and used somewhere, and our gas grid can play a very substantial role in this one too. So I see plenty of opportunities, and I'm just starting in Romania again, and I'm very optimistic for the future.
Thank you very much, and we hope, I think all together, that we'll have more and more electric cars on the road, more and more distribution points and rechargeable points, and do this.
Listen, we need some...
please. We
need a collaboration, and we need the support of companies like EON, because we will invest hundreds of millions of euros in the small infrastructure, in the charging points for public institutions and for small companies and so on. But in a few years, probably, it will be a huge pressure on the national infrastructure, where we need the huge companies' support to use these charging points. Otherwise, the whole system will be collapsed. It will be a huge demand from the citizens, from the population, and from the public sector, for the public institutions. My dream is to see behind, in the front of each institution, only electric cars, and to help these institutions to be the leaders of this changing world, to show the companies, to the citizens, how they have to make steps to reduce the emission and to use more the food and less classic engines.
Thank you very much, and maybe we can already hear a public-private partnership between the Ministry of Environment and the energetic sector to move toward to this, to achieve this goal. And maybe the private companies can support the Ministry of Environment on achieving this one.
As I said, it's about cooperation, and we are ready. Cooperation
is the most important. And thank you, Mr. Minister, because you already raised the next subject, which is regarding the grid and the technology. Mr. Rushets, you have 30 years already. You know Romania, Romanian grid, Romanian technology, and you heard we have a lot of projects. We have a lot of projects also to produce, also to consume. Let's speak a little bit about the technology and the distribution. How is Siemens supporting this part of technology into this? Give us some good news.
Many thanks, first of all, to AHK for the invitation. I am honored to be in this panel with the main drivers of this new challenge for Romania. And good day, Mr. Minister Tansos and Mr. Popescu. What I heard today, also in the morning panel and also today, give me really a lot of optimistic about the future. And I will refer to the main reason of presence of Siemens Energy. This is a new company, it's not anymore Siemens, with 1 year existence, but with a very clear target to cover all the energy chain with the products, with the technology, with the support, with the technical support for the society in which are active, and the second is energizing the society. That is a driver of our future business. And nevertheless, we gained some history, more than 120 years in Romania, present in energy sector. From my perspective, Siemens Energy will be and is a company who can support the ideas that we have today. What I want to refer more in detail is maybe about this EU Green Deal. It's, I think, more than a Marshall Plan for Romania, more than needed. In the last 30 years, if I'm not wrong, the new installation in generation were less than 2 gigawatt for the conventional, and with the renewables, we have something like 5 gigawatt, which is very, very less, if I may say. And the chances that is also we can make a step without going in all the intermediate steps. This is very good. On the other side, also Dr. Bruch in the morning, our CEO, told we are very keen to be in a market and to be present to this energy transformation. But the main values for Siemens Energy are to make this transformation sustainable in a sustainable mode, to have a reliable technology, and nevertheless, speaking about hydrogen and new renewables, also to be affordable for the country. That's why I will insist on something that is on my heart. I am coming from a region with coal. Coal have to be maybe shifted, but the main fuel should be gas for the transition for Romania. And I think it was also in the words of Mr. Popescu, this is very important, and Siemens can do a lot in this respect. Siemens Energy has solution, has concepts which can fit for this transitional period, and for sure can help the private and also the public companies in Romania in order to access as soon as possible with reliable, sustainable concepts this funds, and also what I have to admit, in a very short period of time when we are referring to Penedere. That's why at the end of this panel we will show a short video with an application of what I said, collaboration with a private company, with a concept, a complete concept, a very complex concept, which can be implemented in Romania right away, based on a mature technology and not making experiments. That's why I think the Penedere will be pilot, founding for pilot projects, but will be a very good basis for the future development of the energy sector in Romania.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As Mr. Rushet said, at the end of the panel, we will give you the opportunity to see a video with some technology details about the project in Romania. I can say I'm a little bit jealous. Everybody speaks about energy, but I have now the opportunity to speak about the circular economy. It's also a passion of mine. And how can we see the Green Deal as a huge opportunity to create a real circular economy, a functional one in Romania, and not only in Romania for our companies, but also to position Romania regionally regarding the circular economy and waste management. Mr. Radu Venica, how can we see the future? How can we see the next 5-7 years into this project?
So, thank you very much. Actually, I was going to speak about energy. No, just kidding. Yeah. So, yes, we are
nice to
companies.
speak about waste.
RDR companies, we are a Romanian company with German owners, but we are a Romanian company who are active in the Romanian market since more than 25 years. And we have a couple of operational companies distributed in the whole country. And we do collect waste, processing waste, and sorting station, recycling. And there is a very, very interesting question. We can implement in Romania the whole technologies which are functioning in the Western Europe. And talking about Western Europe, Germany is one of the leaders in Europe in the circular economy. Because Germany is not a rich country. Germany is not a rich country in resources. So this is why Germany has also a big density in population. This is why Germany developed, since 30-40 years ago, technologies to recover the materials. Well, and being at an event with the German representatives, the German Chamber of Commerce, we use German technology in our group of companies, and we could use more. Unfortunately, there is a big gap between the ecological dimension of a process and the economical dimension. So you can have the most ecological technology, but you end up being bankrupt because it's not financially sustainable. And this is where the Green Deal is coming. This is why the Green Deal was invented for most industries, which from today's perspective are not financially sustainable, but are ecologically friendly, so they are environmentally friendly. The Green Deal will hopefully fill the gap in the investment to use the most modern technologies. We had this exercise with the EU funds maybe 10-12 years ago, and unfortunately the EU funds in the environmental sector were directed towards authorities, to local authorities, towards counties, ADIs and so on, and we end up 12 years later with maybe a couple of functioning integrated systems, but we cannot forget about the circular economy, about recycling quotas, and about achieving the objectives of the EU. So my hope is that with this Green Deal we will find a way to finance the gaps also for private investment, to have the most modern technologies without increase in the cost for the waste generators. Thank you, Enus, and let's hope in the Green Deal.
Also, because we have a question from a panelist, we have here a subject about waste to energy. It's also an open question for Mr. Minister Tancos-Barna, also for you, Radu. In the frame of Green Deal, do you consider the support to support waste to energy decentralized system and biogas installation from bio-organic and biomass waste? Let's have a short feedback for this one. We are in the last 5-6 minutes, and we'll try to make a short Q&A in this moment. Mr. Minister, please.
Yes, of course. We have in the panel a line for this kind of investments. It's a kind of intervention of the Ministry of Environment in the field of Ministry of Agriculture. we are trying to help the farmers to have the possibility to use the biomass for producing energy, and at the same time we have to protect our water because we have this infringement of nitrate, I think is the English name, nitrate rules. And yes, we want to finance this kind of investments made by companies, and we will launch a state aid procedure to use the plenary funds to help especially the farmers which are producing biomass.
Thank you. We have also another question for Minister Popescu. What is the current feed-in tariff of green electricity, and what feed-in tariffs are planned for the next years? Is there a national program for modern second-generation biofuels?
I didn't understand why you talk about speed.
Is there a national program for modern second-generation biofuels?
Program. We don't have a financing program for biofuels, but this is an idea that we have to think, and maybe we can to see exactly the rule of the Modernization Fund. Maybe we can finance from that fund. If it's not possible because the regulation is already approved by the European Parliament, maybe we can look at the European funds. And that's a good idea to finance the biofuels.
If I may complete something, in this program with hydrogen, there is a relation also with ethanol on second generation, and the programs are correlated with the new investment in petrochemical industry. And I'm proud to say that we already built in Romania the first one, generation 2. The second one is in an investment plan, and this is mixing very well with all the stuff behind with the hydrogen.
Thank you. Thank you for this add-on. Let's be close to the end up of our discussion today. Of course, we could keep going for another hours if you agree, or into this one. Mr. Deer, as the new president of AHK, the German Chamber of Commerce, how do you see the collaboration between the private companies, the German industry, the German investors, and the public authorities? Because what we heard until now, it's about cooperation, it's about communication, and of course based on trust and transparency. How can we move forward?
Yeah, so many thanks for this question. So basically, as said already, the EU Green Deal requires a new way of working together between business, society and politics. We are doing here a lot already, and we very much appreciate the collaboration with the government. I believe now with the Green Deal we have to think much more holistically, to act much more holistically, and also ensure all the things what we discussed and tackled here today, that a strong industrial policy and a regulatory framework are needed in order to create this transition and to make the EU Green Deal a success. And of course, the AHK, we have here our committees and discussion rounds together with the government. We are doing this. I can only encourage everyone that we are doing this all together. So we have to focus to be supportive and create a coordinated framework regulations, and we have to act quickly, that the industry can act quickly. That is most important.
We have here with us the two main ministers involved in the Green Deal, Minister of Environment, and again I would like to thank you for being here with us and giving us inside information. As private companies, can we have a short and pragmatic request to these two ministers? If we have this request, let's do something short and very pragmatic. What can we ask them to do forward?
Yeah, thanks a lot for this question too. So as I said, we are very focusing on distribution, and I'm very grateful to Minister Popescu that he already just discussed about the change in energy law plan for giving a basis for financing. And also, I think the new connections in gas, you also recently mentioned this one, to unblock a little bit the situation, and I'm very much looking forward, if this comes into reality, that we are then free to do our job in this one and absorb more EU funds. We already do, and we are ready for more.
Yeah, continue the good dialogue and intensify and have a more holistic approach even.
If you
Yeah, I would say please rely on companies like Siemens, which are thinking on long-term. Please help the private companies in Romania to take over from us the knowledge, to make this transfer as soon as possible and keep this stable frame of developing energy sector in Romania. Thank you.
Yeah, from my side, I wish a stronger enforcement of the laws in the question of pollution and waste management.
Mr. Ministers, you have here some representative of the private industries. The same. What could be your request of supporting to support the public authorities? What can be your request into this from these gentlemen here, or from the German investors and German companies?
As the Minister of the Environment, maybe it's not a request, but it's an aim to have the technologies available for all the programs which are financed by the ministries. It's very important, for example, to have buses, cars, and other buses and cars especially, because our ministry will finance, for example, 3,000 microbuses for schools, and we would like to change all the bus park and to step forward and have only electric cars in the school bus system. For example, another example, we have more and more programs helping the authorities to change their energy, small energy producing capacities, heating, electricity producing capacities. We have to step forward to talk about wood processing and wood waste solutions for wood waste. Because if we want to eliminate completely the fossil energy, we have to find solutions for the wood which is coming out from the forest. The forest exploitation is a normal activity. It must be legal, it must be correct, but it must be supported because all of us like to furniture, in our offices and beds and everything in our houses. So we will need some technologies for in some fields where the challenges are very big, and in the next 20 years a lot of things will change, and probably some industries will disappear and other news will come. And it's very important to have this kind of communication and dialogue with the industry to see our programs, how to be efficient, and which are the new ways which must be supported financially by the authorities.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Mr. Minister Popescu, what can be a request from your point of view to German industry, to German investors, or a message?
My message to German investors and working investors is to come and to invest in Romania in energy field. There's a lot of place and there are a lot of European money. Any company can access it. We are a government that, as I say, has two key words, predictability and stability, and we want to have, as soon as possible, this green transition from coal to green energy. So come in Romania and lay on authorities, lay on the government, because they are pro-business government and we know what to do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, to be here. At the end, we have a message from AHK, the German Chamber of Commerce. AHK can take the role and take the responsibility of being a communication and contact point between the German industry and the German investors with your two ministers. So you have an open door from this position. If you have maybe from each minister one person which can be the contact point for AHK, we are committed in AHK to be very involved, to be positive, and to bring as much contribution we can to achieve all our Green Deal targets in Romania, to increase the absorption. So please, let's open a channel of communication between the two ministers and AHK. Mr. President, Mr. Lear is here also, and we discussed that we are totally open to support all the public authorities in achieving the targets on Green Deal. We are on an online conference now. Our agenda is pushing us out in this moment. I have signed that we have to end. We have already almost 20 minutes after the schedule. But it was a great discussion. Thank you, gentlemen, to be here. Thank you to all the participants to be here with us. And please stay with us to see a few minutes of a great project that we will have here in Romania. It's a very good example of a good practice. Thank you, everybody, to be here. And let's keep in touch. Let's work together. It's about cooperation. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.